So, you know I've been using Terraform for a while now. It's just so much more intuitive once you get past the initial learning curve.
Yeah, I tried to set up some basic infrastructure with it last week and found the syntax pretty straightforward.
Definitely. The HCL HashiCorp configuration language is way more flexible than CloudFormation's JSON or YAML. Plus, you can do things like define variables and modules that make your code reusable.
That sounds really useful, especially when trying to keep scripts dry.
Exactly. And don't even get me started on state management. Terraform handles this beautifully with its state files. You can track what resources exist in which environment without too much hassle.
Right. I remember running into issues with CloudFormation where tracking changes became a bit chaotic.
Oh man, CloudFormation can be a real pain there. Every time you update something, it's like starting from scratch unless you're super careful with change sets. Terraform keeps everything in sync nicely, and the versioning helps too.
Makes sense. Also, I noticed the community around Terraform seems quite active.
Absolutely. There are tons of pre-built modules available through the Terraform registry. Saves so much time compared to rolling out your own stuff every single time. Plus, the documentation is top-notch. They really nailed down those examples and tutorials. Speaking of which, let's talk about resource management capabilities. Have you seen how Terraform handles different cloud providers?
Yeah, I've noticed it supports multiple providers seamlessly. It was pretty handy switching between AWS and Azure without rewriting everything.
True. The provider abstraction layer in Terraform is fantastic. You can mix and match resources from various clouds easily, making it a great choice for multi-cloud setups.
That's definitely a plus point. With CloudFormation, it feels more tied to AWS specifically.
Exactly. And the way Terraform manages dependencies between resources is really powerful. You define your infrastructure as code, and Terraform figures out the order in which to create or destroy resources based on their dependencies.
That does simplify things a lot. In CloudFormation, you have to manually specify these dependencies, which can get tricky with complex stacks.
Oh yeah. And don't forget about the import feature in Terraform. If you already have existing infrastructure, you can import it into your Terraform state file, so you're not starting from zero.
That sounds incredibly useful for transitioning legacy systems.
Absolutely. It allows you to bring existing resources under Terraform management without having to recreate them from scratch. Plus, the consistency in managing updates across different environments is just so much cleaner with Terraform.
I see what you mean. Managing updates becomes a lot more streamlined without having to worry about drift in CloudFormation stacks.
Drift is such a headache with CloudFormation. When resources change outside of the stack definition, keeping track of those changes gets messy fast. Terraform state management helps avoid that issue by always being aware of what's deployed where.
That would save a lot of headaches during maintenance and scaling operations.
For sure. P. And then there's the preview capability in Terraform. Before applying any changes, you can run Terraform plan to see exactly what will happen before you commit to it.
That must give a lot of peace of mind when making significant changes.
It does. No surprises at all, which is crucial for large-scale infrastructures where small mistakes can have big consequences. Speaking of large-scale infrastructures, have you looked into how these tools integrate with CI/CD pipelines?
Yeah, I've been thinking about that. Terraform seems to play well with GitOps workflows.
Absolutely. With Terraform, you can easily integrate it into your CI/CD pipeline using tools like GitHub Actions or Jenkins. You just need to run Terraform init, Terraform plan, and Terraform apply as part of your pipeline steps.
That sounds pretty seamless. What about CloudFormation?
CloudFormation also integrates well, but requires a bit more setup. You typically use AWS Code Pipeline or WS Code Build for automating deployments. However, The process tends to be more tightly coupled with AWS services.
I see. So Terraform might offer more flexibility if you're using multiple cloud providers in your pipeline.
Exactly. The flexibility of Terraform means you can use it across different environments and clouds without major changes to your pipeline configuration. Plus, you can leverage any CE tool of your choice, not just AWS-specific ones.
That could definitely streamline our current workflow.
Definitely. And with Terraform state files being version controlled alongside your infrastructure code, you get a consistent view of what's deployed and what changes are being made. This is crucial for maintaining audit trails and ensuring reproducibility in CE/CD pipelines.
Maintaining those audit trails would be really helpful for compliance checks.
Agreed. Automating infrastructure changes through CI/CD pipelines becomes much safer when you have that level of visibility and control over the state of your resources. And let's not forget about the community plugins and integrations available for Terraform, which can extend its capabilities further within your pipeline.
Having access to those additional plugins could make a big difference in our automation efforts.
Absolutely. Whether it's integrating with monitoring tools or customizing deployment strategies, the ecosystem around Terraform is robust and constantly growing. Speaking of the ecosystem, let's talk about community support and the size of the ecosystem around Terraform versus CloudFormation.
Sure, I've noticed a lot of activity in the Terraform community. It seems quite vibrant.
Definitely. The HashiCorp community is very active, with regular updates, new modules, and extensive documentation. There are tons of forums, Slack channels, and user groups where you can get help quickly.
That's great for getting quick answers and finding solutions to common problems.
Exactly. Plus, there are numerous third-party tools and integrations built around Terraform. Things like TerraGrunt for managing multiple Terraform configurations or Sentinel for policy as code add a lot of value.
Those additional tools can really enhance what you can do with Terraform.
Absolutely. The ecosystem around Terraform is vast and continually expanding. Compare that to CloudFormation, which is more AWS-centric. While it has its own set of tools and extensions, it doesn't have the same breadth of third-party integrations.
That makes sense. A larger ecosystem can provide more options and flexibility.
And let's not forget about the wealth of examples and best practices shared by the community. With Terraform, you can find countless examples online, from simple setups to complex multi-cloud architectures.
Having access to those examples can be really helpful when you're trying to solve specific problems or learn new approaches.
True. Why so? June, 1, and winter. No D. Day 0, or on style. Whether it's through GitHub repositories or community blogs, there's a ton of material out there that can guide you through various scenarios. This kind of collective knowledge sharing is invaluable for anyone working with infrastructure as code.
It certainly adds to the overall appeal and usability of Terraform.
Definitely. The strong community support and rich ecosystem make Terraform a compelling choice for both beginners and seasoned pros alike.